back. This is part 8. And before we get on with talking about how the eyes work and why they wear clothes, I'm going to answer a couple of questions that we've been asked. So, Paula, you first.
Right. Oh, right. Simon C. Riley, question 1. After an abduction, do you have the smell of rotting leaves in your nose?
Well, that's quite a pungent smell. I smell that's something that's more sour, that's a bit like wet cardboard. I don't know about rotting leaves. I'll have to go out at the bottom of the garden and have a sniff and come back and say, because rotting stuff is really quite like rotten eggies. I don't know if that's what he means, but not a rotten stinking egg, but like sour, like wet cardboard.
It's like rotten. It's right. I think I've probably had it a couple of times, but rotting vegetation, but not. Some say sulphur, don't they, as well? I smelt that probably twice, sulphurous smell, but it's out of all that I've gone through, it's very small amount, whatever it is. So.
About paranormal experiences, not just ET, then
smells, cigarette smells. I smoke cigarettes, but when I'm not, the tobacco
smoke.
And flowers.
Flowers, flowers. I've smelt flowers a few times, but with the tea stuff. Oh, when I was at Brenda Butler's, I got told off by John Hanson for saying this, but I didn't mean it like Brenda's house smell. I got actually a whiff of something really rotten, like I don't know what it was. I went in. I said to her that I got this really strong smell, meaning I think something weird has just happened. And so I went around the house trying to see if it was anything in the house. And obviously, not me twigging that I've just told somebody that their house smells. I didn't mean it like that. John was like in a bit of a bad mood with me for saying it, but I was like, I talked to Brando and I went, I didn't mean your house smell. I meant I smelled something. It was a weird smell. I wouldn't have said it was like rotting veg. I don't know.
Yeah. Have we done that question then?
I think so.
Okay, right. Have electronics in your home or car been affected after being taken?
Remember my old house in Leeds, in the cellar, go down the cellar steps in the cannon. There was a wall there where the steps were. So this bit here, the steps are there. There's the wall. There was a pile from the floor to the ceiling of broken electronic things. So many, in fact, that I was gonna get. Because, back in the day, our tellies weren't thin like this, were they? They were massively wide. So I had this big silver wide TV that had blown up, probably due to age. I don't know, I might have done it. But it was so big inside and so massive. And I had all these electronics. I was going to make like an electronic, out of circuit boards, a circuit board cross, copper wired Jesus, with an old telephone wired into it, so that if you called it and you could listen, it'd be like, you are caller 1 billion, blah, 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 da, 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 da. Your call is important to me. Please wait. I was like going to do this like mad art installation with all the broken stuff that I had, but I never did. Probably got job because I was a bit weird. So light bulbs, and also ones. I don't know if you'd ever agree with me, but Ian, the boyfriend that I once got in his car, and I don't think it's because I don't know if I'd been recently. And I'd have to figure out dates, but I got in his car and I wiped his USB stick. The stereo went, and he couldn't even use that stereo again because it had reset it and he needed the code. but he bought the car secondhand and didn't have the code for the stereo itself. So just me getting into his car just wiped his stereo to death. I remember once when I was little, and my mum might remember this. I was sat on my mum's name. We were sat right near the telly, and the BBC World came up. You know, on the blue background with the yellow world that used to spin. And for some reason, creepy little weirdo that I am, I went and put my finger right in the middle of the television screen, and the picture came in like that. You know, made it like an egg timer. And my mum went, "Do that again." And I touched it again, and it didn't do anything. Probably something, but that. I'm not saying that was a paranormal thing. I'm just saying that's how much static I carry in my body.
Yeah,
I distorted everything into that one point in the middle of the TV screen. And I was probably about 6 then, something like that. So, oh my God, and my favourite, self-checkouts in supermarkets. It's in the fucking bagging area! Every single time. Whatever use one, they always spaz out. I don't know why. They just don't like me, so I don't use them.
But yeah, but not as dramatic. So mine was the electronics or car. Well, I don't have a car, so yeah, it's electronics. After, if you watched the one, Simon, where the ball of light come through the window and hovered over my head. And I went to the supermarket, and it affected made the static noise all the way along the fridge top. And then when I were about a foot away from a tin of chocolate roses, and the whole thing just went tumbling down, like as if some force had pushed it away from me. So it has me. And at the height of my experiences, I just like, if I get in my mum's car or anyone's car, I'd only have to kind of even go towards the door handle, and I'd get a blue arc. And then if I did touch it, I go, oh! But yeah, that was like a lot of, over that period of time, 43-year-old, where I did have that a lot. So
I did that to my cat. I went to give my cat a stroke on the nose, and you go and you rub him on the nose like that. And a blue spark came out my finger on his nose. Cat was not happy with me for days.
And yeah, electric
that's all paranormal. I think that's just static and energy that we've got. Do you know what I mean? I think it's like we just can.
I think that's
a lot of. Go on.
Yeah, we all carry that static electricity, but it seems to build up more when, well, for me personally, when I do have experiences, it's kind of hyped up a bit more. So like I say, age 43, 42, 41, when we're giving it large, I had a lot of vacuum cleaners I had to replace, washers I had to replace. But as soon as it's steadily gone down to zero for now, I've been okay. My
hairdryer just stopped working recently, so I was like, oh my God, I'll have to dry my hair with me. It was actually my daughter's skinny hair straighteners. They died. Then the magic bullet died. Then the toaster died. I'm like, I don't know if it's me again or if everything I own is old and shit. That's so funny.
Right. It's just some things just need replacing, you know what I mean? Anyway, so you ready for the next question?
Yeah.
Simon again. Now, I can say yes to this definitely, but once. Have you been in the craft or stood with the crowd on the craft, watching a screen, some type of prophetic meaning, e.g. global devastation?
No, but I did have an experience where I was on the craft with a lot of people. I was having a flying dream. I thought it was a flying dream. And I was out, I was already flying. and everything was black, but all the grass and the trees and everything had its own light, like a luminescent bluey white phosphorescence type glow to it. So I was looking at this and thinking, wow, this is beautiful. Everything's got its own light. And then I thought, the stars, I want to see the stars. So as soon as I thought I want to see the stars, I was shooting upwards really fast. It was like being on a motorbike without a helmet, and I could feel my hair flapping. I could feel clothes flapping. I don't remember feeling any temperature, and as I was looking at the stars, all these, there was just loads of them. They went and parted until there was a big black circle. My brain went, oh, they've moved out of the way so I don't crash into them.
I remember you telling me that, yeah.
So they're like, what your monkey brain does is so amazing when you're in these situations. Anyway, so then the next thing I know, I'm sat on a bench in a curved corridor, and it seems to be like there's a red like carpet or flooring, and then it's all molded. There's no, it's a bench, but it's not actually a bench that's made. It's like it comes up off the floor, then round, and then like that, and then it goes up. And we're sat on this thing that's sort of all one piece. And in front of me, there's like these big square panels that are glowing a kind of yellow, a really gentle yellowy white light. It's not like a light from a light bulb. It's a different kind of light. It's hard to explain. It wasn't casting any light. It was just light. And I was sat next to this woman, and all the way around this curved corridor, there were just loads and loads of people, and they were all stood. Some of them were sat up, like just sort of staring at the floor, and some of them were stood talking to each other. And I'm sat on this bench, and I'm saying to this woman sat next to me, I'm going, this is mad. I know I'm at home in bed. I'm in bed asleep. I know that I'm at home in bed asleep.
Yeah.
And she's kind of sat forward with her hands on her knees, and she just sort of smiled. Like that. And I'm going, this is mad. I know I'm in bed. I'm like monkey brain going, ah. So I don't have any recollection of anything after that, but the stars, it always makes me giggle when I think how childish and simple our brains are. Oh, they're moving out of the way so I don't crash into them. What a thing to think. So I don't have any recollection of anything else, or why we were all there, or what happened next. I just don't know.
Well, mine is, I have once. I don't know whether I was sat with a crowd of people, but there was a screen, and me being whatever you want to call it, experienced abductee, when I first heard about this, other people, they had this prophetic thing. They stood in front of a screen or sat down, and you're watching. It starts off lovely, and I used to think that were bollocks. Same with Bigfoot. I used to think it were bollocks coming from me, So, I was sat down, and there was this. It was like a drop-down screen, like you could pull it down. I didn't pull it down. I don't know who pulled it down, but it pulled down unless it went on its own. There was people around me, but I had no thingy to look and see because I was just drawn to this screen. It was the way that I was positioned and sat down was like the dentist chair experience. It was comfortable, and it started off. Everything was lush green, and there's lovely rivers flowing and beautiful flowers. But as I'm kind of rushing down this, everything's like all the colours are over dramatic. It's what I mean. It's
Super
not just
HD.
Adam.
Super HD.
Yeah, and it feels like it does. It actually feels like you've got they'd set on. That's what it feels like. But yet, it's in front of you. You can't see it at sides, but it feels like you're in there. And so I'm going down this river, and then it kind of stops and it goes on to the next thing where the rivers and the sea, and it's black and it's oil and there's birds that, you know, stuck in the oil. And then, you know, I mean, and there's just devastation everywhere. It's awful. I mean, I'm not talking people here. It's the earth, basically, you know. But I haven't been backwards looking at the earth. I've actually been there looking at the devastation, what I'm seeing around me. So yeah, I've had that once, but I don't ever look to see if anyone's with me or not. I know there is, because I can see them at a peripheral view, but I've no thing it alone.
Just reminded me of something that I did see. Oh, I don't know how these things come about. I found myself, and I was standing on it was like a glass platform, but it wasn't glass. It was like made of energy, and I could see through it, and it was just stars. It was space. I was like in space. I was in something, but whatever I was in had, you know, the ability to show me what was underneath and what was in front of me. So it was literally like I was standing out in space, but I wasn't. Yeah. And I was coming down at an angle towards the planet, and I was absolutely like, it was like being punched in the gut when you see this, the beauty of it, how bright it is. And I was thinking, I can't believe how bright this is. I cannot believe how bright it glows. People don't know how bright this is. Oh my God, if people could see what we were living on, they would look after it. You know, that it was just so, literally, by the true definition, awesome, because and breathtaking.
It is
so beautiful. There's no words to describe it. And no picture that I've ever seen has ever shown the glow at that looks like there's a bubble around it, but it's so bright. Like, I've got goosebumps. It's so bright, it's so beautiful, so blue, it's so green. It's you know, it's the most striking thing that I've ever seen. And I always say, nothing nice ever happens to me. I've never had anything nice happens to me. Well, I think that was probably something that I can say was, and that I was shown, and it made me realize how precious it was, and that it is unique. And there might be other planets in the solar system, but I think we're all unique. It was the most amazing thing I've ever seen.
Like on the screen when it were down, and when we set off and everything was just luscious screen, and so I can understand. I can see the vibrancy in it and everything, you know. And so, Eileen Moffat question: is talking about this impacting on our health? Talking about it as now?
Well, yeah, in a way it is. It brings up a lot of feelings, because when we stop talking about it and we go, okay, that's it, we're done, bye, right. I'm thinking about what we've talked about. I'm feeling it again. Even thinking, I don't know if it was today or yesterday, oh God, I've got to talk about all my stuff yet. And that makes me tremble inside. You know, I can talk about it. Sometimes I can reel it off, like it's not mine.
Yeah.
Like when I went on talked to Tobe Johnson, and I was in quite high spirits when I started talking to him anyway. So I just kind of was a bit more, you know, matter of fact about it. And
but
this it's like, where do you put any of it? Where you bring it out and you look at it and then you go, right, okay, so where does it go?
Yeah, that's but yeah, so yeah, in a way it does impact me, but in a way it doesn't. In a way it doesn't, because the more I talk about it, the more bearable it becomes. But the more I talk about it and my experiences, rather than, you know, having to go into detail about my experiences, I'm not just talking them, it's not verbal. I'm replaying it. You know, in my head at the moment, I'm talking about it. So it's bringing back them emotions. So in a way it's good, and in another way it's bad. So
it's been making me think about all the things that I've been through, because I know that I've got to talk. It's my turn next to talk about, you know, what I've had. First part of it was a few ET stuff, mostly paranormal. Then it all changed. But I feel like I've been super damaged by it, you know, like mentally, emotionally, literally tortured. And then this need to know this, because I'm hyperactive. I don't know if it's trauma that's doing it or what, but it's like 60 billion things are going on in my head at any one time. And most of them, it's all like, right, where can I put it? Where can I put it? And then I'll listen to somebody, and then I'll hear somebody say something, and it'll set something off in my brain, and it's got to figure it out, So it's kind of mentally exhausting for me. And I think you can see it in my eyes. You go like, if you watch video 1 and you see me now, it's like, I do feel it's like it's taken something out of me, and I've hardly even spoken about myself.
Whereas I'm more relaxed about it. I think my trauma talking about it was leading up to meeting you, and that's when I knew I had to reach out to someone. But after being with you a lot of years and spent a lot of time with you, and repeated the same encounters over and over again, to me personally, I'm getting more easier with it, even having to replay it in my head. It is traumatic as I'm.
Yeah, it is.
Well, it gets
very emotional about it at times.
Yeah.
Sometimes I just like, I'll be talking about it, and then all of a sudden, boom, tears, and I think, because you think you sat on it, and then, you know, I don't think people can understand how small it makes you feel, how powerless. And me, I've always been, you know, if I'd have been born rich and a couple of 100 years ago, I'd have been an adventurer. I'd have been one of them people discovering new lands and doing ridiculous things. You know what I mean? Now I'm just that I'm kind of a hermit now, because it's overwhelming that much, that too much hustle and bustle. I can't, you know, I get super anxious. Well, it's like being hit on the head with a hammer, and every time you get hit with it, you go down a little bit and a bit more and a bit more and a bit more. But you have to, at the end, when the hammer stops hitting you, you have to pull yourself up and out again. But you're not the same person. You're a bit bent out of shape. Do you know what I mean?
With us too, because I think you're more, well, I wouldn't say more traumatized than it. I think I've become more hardened to it. And but I think that's where we've discussed it. We've helped each other because of the different ways it's affected us as well. So we have helped each other a lot, really, a lot.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't have got through all that in 2012 if you hadn't turned up.
I know. Same here.
I find myself face to face with the Greys, and never been that before. And they are, like, from anything else that I've ever encountered, the Greys are scary. And I know why people think they're evil, but I don't think they're evil. They just haven't got the capacity to give a shit. They're like insectoid. They're kind of like logical and perfunctory, but not emotional. They don't have that emotional. They don't know what that. They just don't have it. So you're standing there and you can feel that. You can feel it coming up them, and we can that as being evil or whatever. They give off such a large amount of energy. They control us with their energy. They have got energy figured out completely, down to, you know, the micro. They've got it sussed. That's how they can do things that they do. It's how they can walk through walls, come up through floors, you know, take people through windows, walk, you know, all of that. it's all about frequency and light. Everything that they do is frequency and light, and that's how they manipulate our environment. And they have got so much an intense amount of energy, and people act like they would handle meeting the greys really well, and that they'd be able to ask them a question. You won't do a fucking thing. The only thing you'll do is whatever they allow you to do, and that includes moving your eyeballs. They might let you move your eyeballs. They might give you you might have a little bit of movement, a little bit of motion, but you cannot get your
reason.
motor skills are gone.
To me, they won't let you move because humans are that volatile, and we can lash out at any time, even during an argument. One word can trigger us to go boom, and they know that how volatile humans are.
I read something by Deep Prasad. He's the guy on Twitter. He's a physicist. He had an experience, and he said that one walked up his chest really, really cautiously, like he was an animal. I've put all his stuff to one side to write about it because I want to say to him, to them, we are animals, and we are animals. We are a product of this environment contained within it. We're not above it. We're not in control of it. We are part of it. People seem to think that we're separate from it, but we're not at all. We are animals, and we, like you say, freak out, boom. I went and learned how to do Kung Fu. I did Wing Chun Kung Fu for 2 years because I wanted to fight for my life. I wanted to be able to protect my family, to protect myself. And I think they knew it. And that's why they were super, super brutal, holding me in place. But I'm because I'm so confrontational, and I'm saying to them, you chicken shit cowards, hiding from me, hiding from a woman, like all that. And then so they showed themselves to me, and they made me feel the power that they've got. And I never and will never, ever, ever say that again, ever. So I've come face to face with them a few times, and quite frankly, that's the worst of it. Like, that is the worst of it. The way, how intimidating they are.
Yeah, definitely.
Powerful.
So here it comes.
Oh my gosh! Let me just get a drink of water. That made my mouth go dry.
So now we're gonna talk about how the eyes work. Now, I aren't saying this is a definite. This is what I've been shown, and which is in conjunction with Sacha's encounter. So I will crack on. So this is one of the experiences.
Sacha, can you remember when it happened to you with the visor? Where was it? What year? What do you know?
It's in me. It's 41, 42.
It was after meeting me, or was it before meeting me?
Before meeting you. I'm sure it was. Something I can't remember because it were age 42 when I met you, but that was when I were in that massive spate of them. So it could have been after. I'm not sure, but I think it would be.
I think it might have been when we just because looking back at those drawings, I remember you did the drawings. The 360 thing came a lot. With your drawing, that came after, not before. When you were in my house and you told me all your experiences and you were drawing them out.
Yeah.
You didn't draw that one out. That came later. So then, and that's when you started eating fish. So it was after we'd met.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is how mine goes. I don't know why I have these. Sometimes I have these encounters and to do with America. I've never been to America. It's not like I'm not bothered about going to America. It's not somewhere I book on holiday or, but for some reason America does come into it a lot. Anyway, I don't know. Did I fall asleep? Did I don't know. But I was walking down a street in America, and I know it's America because they've got the number plates, you've got yellow cabs, you've got the skyscrapers. We don't have any of that over here. I think nearest thing to yellow vehicles is the school buses. You know, yeah, that's about it, really, isn't it? And so I was going down there, and I was with the little grey that I call Danny DeVito. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not stupid or out like that when I say it's Danny DeVito. It's because sometimes he wears this hat and he's small and he's quite plump and he looks like Danny DeVito. It reminds me of Danny DeVito, and he's very wrinkly. And he's got, to me, he's got a lot of wisdom. Anyway, so I was walking down a road, nobody saw us. Nice bright sunny day, and we stops. And opposite us, there's a skyscraper. Well, they're all over, but this particular one were right there. And it was just this one, and I was like looking at it. I knew that I had to look at this skyscraper. Next minute, I'm seeing a giant, like a carp fish. I mean, it'll be huge. I mean, yeah, it sounds so ridiculous. It's flying round this skyscraper. And there's a lot of this stuff now that I'm trying to get it because a lot of it I lose. So my little grey said, if you put here, basically, he hands me this thing. It's like a rubbery. It's like a welder's visor, you know, the black bit. It's that shape. It's like a welder's kind of bit of an arch, and it's just like that. It's a bit rubbery, and it said if you put that on, you'll be able to see other things in the sky, and but it didn't tell me that I'd be able, whatever else I'd be able to see. So it just told me about these things in the sky. So as I've got this visor, takes it off him, and I gets it to about there on my face, about an inch away, and it went and sucked right onto my face. I felt it under here, round, over, and all I'm seeing is then I can see all the way around me, 360, all the way around me without having to turn my head. So I'm seeing this at the same time as I'm looking at this skyscraper with this giant carp going round it, and I'm seeing like craft in the sky, and I'm seeing, you know, your triangles, your discs, and they're all like moving about within each other. And but don't ask me what description they are, because to me they all look black, you know. And then I'm seeing, even though I'm looking straight forward, I can see all the way around me. I can see the sky. I can see my feet. I don't have to move an inch. These groups of people, and they're talking, you know, on street corners or, you know, next to us or whatever. So let's say there's 7 groups of people. There's 7 conversations going on at once. Every one of these conversations I can decipher without having to block 6 out and listen to one. I can decipher each conversation that they are talking about at once. And I said, basically, I said, well, how does it work? You know what I mean? And he said, it blocks black light and something, I can't remember what he said. It either brings ultraviolet in or out, but he said it definitely blocks black light.
Well, we live in black light, don't we? Because UV light is black light.
Yeah, and the way that he was saying it was like, we're not actually living in light. We live in black, and it's somehow and changed into light. And so the only way that I can describe this light, I've never wore a VR headset until this year. Now, even with a VR set, you've got to turn around to see what's at back of you. You know what I mean? But you got to think that, right, okay, I'm looking straight forward, but I can see all the way around, up, down. This is why, he says to me, this is why we'll never get caught. And basically, because they can see, hear everything, what's going on around them. So once there's, you know, if somebody's coming towards them, boom, they're gone, you know. And now, whether that's fact or whether that's something they've basically bullshitted me about, I don't know. I really don't know. I want to say it is fact. But what Sacha is going to tell you will coincide with what I've said, so make of it as you will. So go ahead, Sacha.
Well, this happened in January. Well, actually, before I start, I want to say something, because when you were saying that, it made me think about when I was and I told you about when I was flying and everything had its own light.
Yeah.
So life has its own light. So when people say we're light beings, I think that's actually true, but not in a like, who are so angelic and blah. Not in that way. It's just the fact that biological things give off some kind of phosphorescence. That's the only way I can describe it. So I think with the visor, it's an organizational thing. So it makes sense of everything. It makes your mind make sense of everything that's going on around you. So this was January 2012, and I know it was because I actually sent Joe Montaldo an email, because I used to tell him about anything that happened to me. You know, the guy who completely shit on me a couple of years ago with Larry Warren.
There was something happened, but I can't remember.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I told him when I got up the next day, and I kind of, well, it won't. Anyway, I'll just better start, aren't I? So I'm in bed and I wake up because my head's buzzing. It's like really buzzing, not like a vibration like this inside my head, and it's like literally like a dentist drill on your teeth. If it was just bouncing, that's what it felt like, but it was in the center of my head, and that's what woke me up. So I woke up, and I'm in my bed, and at the bottom of my bed is my bedroom doorway. I always have the light on in the hallway. My kids were downstairs. I lived in a 4-story, huge Victorian house. I had the whole top floor to myself, but the house was haunted. And I think, well, whatever was in the bedroom opposite me, I didn't want my kids in that room, and I didn't want to be in that room. So that room was pretty much empty the whole time that we lived there. And I didn't want them in there because I didn't want them to fall out of the top, because it's like 3 stories down and it's just concrete. So I was upstairs and my kids are on the middle level. Then there's downstairs, front door. So I wake up with this buzzing, and I'm looking at the doorway, and there's a silhouette of a person. There's somebody stood in the doorway, and I can see it. It's very black and white, like very striking. And my brain thought, oh, it's a Power Ranger. So it looks just like a Power Ranger in this, you know, the silhouette. Then I thought, basically, it can't be a Power Ranger, it's a biker. And then as it kind of came out of the shadow a little bit, so it wasn't so black and just bright white light, I just literally thought, oh. And then I was looking at this tall grey, wearing a silver suit and a helmet, and my brain's going, oh, no way, silver suit and helmet, get out of here, do you know, this is ridiculous, seeing an alien in a silver suit and a helmet. This is stuff that crazy people talk about, you know, not really thinking that everything else that I've ever said in my life has been crazy. But you see an alien in a silver suit and a helmet, it's just too 1950s sci-fi.
Yeah.
You know, and your brain's arguing with what you're seeing, because you're trying to rationalize it, but all of the shit that's in your head just comes up like it does. This is how thoughts come up, isn't it? So I'm thinking how ridiculous this situation is already straight away. But I'm obviously scared, and I'm saying like, no, go away, leave me alone, go away. And I'm trying to sit up. I can move a little bit, and I'm like, trying to grab the quilt cover. So if I can grab it, I might be able to pull myself up and do something about this situation. I don't even know what, but my mission was to get up. And so I'm saying, leave me alone, go away, And then I thought, shit, the kids, I better shut up, because if I wake them up, it's between me and them and I can't move. So I went quiet, but I was still trying to get up. And then while I'm laying there and I've got a handful of quilt cover and not the duvet, all I've done is bunched up the quilt cover and just got 2 handfuls of nothing, basically. My walls changing, patterns, stripes, flowers, like all these different.
Are these what's changing? Is it everything that you've had before, or is it stuff that you?
The one thing that makes me think that might be the case is that one time in one house, I had a chimney breast and I painted it, like a zebra skin.
Yeah.
Black, so it was black and white, like a big zebra skin fireplace. And the walls, it was the bed coverings as well that were changing. The walls and the bed cover, just like rippling through like this, and every time it was different.
Why?
And then one time it was the zebra stripes. So that made me think that maybe it was. I mean, it changed a lot, just all the time. So then it's gone from facing on to being sideways on, so it's looking down the stairs. So I'm wanting to get up because I can hear outside. I can hear all these people talking. I can hear a party and I can hear music, and I know it's out in the street. So I think if I can get to the window, I can get some help. You just try and rationalize. So I'm literally crawling across the bedroom floor, and I got on my hands on the radiators, and I was staggering, and I can't even tell you the that's going on in your head. So I look out the window, finally pull myself up, and there's all these men, and there's, I don't know, maybe 10 or 12, and they're all exactly the same. They're all wearing a black t-shirt, black jeans, they've all got short black hair, and they've all got a drink, and they're all stood like this.
Yeah.
Every single one of them, apart from one opposite, who was sat like on the floor, like he was sat on the gutter, with his feet on the road and his backside on the pavement. So I lived on a T-junction.
Hang on. Did you say one of them before had headphones on? No?
Not to that bit. No.
All right, okay. Yeah.
So I'm looking out at the window and I'm seeing all these men, and then there's a black Lincoln car parked on opposite my house. So there's the road that comes up, and then you go right, it's there. Parked at the side of the house opposite me. The windows are open and the music's coming out of it, and it's some sort of popular tune. It's dance tune. And I'm thinking, and I don't know why I was thinking this, but I was thinking, I know this tune. We've got to remember what it is. I must remember this. I've got to remember this. And then the next thing I know, I'm back in bed, and then I wake up, and I think the light in the bedroom was on. I don't remember if I didn't put the light on, because I woke up because I couldn't actually move at first. I sat on the side of my bed, and I know the light was on, and I was this buzzing thing. Oh no, I've forgotten a bit. When I was in bed, and then I woke up and I could still hear this music and this party noise. I heard somebody saying, oh yeah, we just found out we're having a baby. And this other bloke goes, oh, congratulations, mate. And I sit up and it goes like that, like an old cassette. When a cassette gets jammed up, that noise. That happened. So it was silence. So I like turn and this buzzing's still going in my head, and I feel so sick, and I feel like I'm being full of some weird drugs or something. And I'm really disorientated, and my motor skills are all over the place. And I'm literally still got this buzzing. And I'm sat on the side of the bed, and I am slapping myself hard in the face. I mean, really hard, because I know this has happened, and I don't know where my kids are, and I don't know what's going on. So I staggered to the window, and I'm thinking, do not open that window, because remember how high up I am. You do not walk. If you open that window, you're going out of it. You're dead.
Yeah.
You know? So like all over the place, literally staggering around. Got to the window. Nothing. So I go downstairs, and my kids are fine. I go back up. I get back into bed, and I go back to sleep. I get up in the morning. I've forgotten about it. Boom. Take the kids to school. And later that day, when I go pick them up, I'm stood at the gate, and I'm waiting for them to open the gate, and then it goes straight.
Like face.
The alien. When I'd looked at it, and I was thinking how ridiculous it was that it was wearing a silver suit and helmet, I got this feeling like a bump. It was like warm water all on the inside of my head. And then all of a sudden I knew why it was wearing the suit. It was a dark gunmetal grey, and it had very, very fine silver. How the hell I could see this detail?
You do, though, yeah, you do.
You put it in your head, so it's like close-ups of the material.
Yeah.
It's like a dark gunmetal grey with very, very fine silver threads going through it. It actually had a belt on as well.
Yeah.
It was like it was sewn into the material. It wasn't added on. It wasn't an extra. It was part of what was going on. And the helmet was so long. It was so pointed, ridiculous. It was like, like this long from the top to the bottom. And the visor was absolutely massive. So when I'm in bed and I'm saying, no, go away, blah, 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 leave me alone, it turned and it looked at me. And that's when I saw its massive black eyes, and they don't go up like that. They come out like that. They bulge. So that's why it looks like they're going up, but they're not bulge. And as it looked at me and looked at me in the eye, and I looked at it in the eye, it was boom. The material, it hides them from any and every type of camera or radar or anything. It can scatter light on a photon level. It can make themselves invisible, hide heat signatures. You cannot see them. You do not know they're there. And it's not like a pixelated predator thing. Is that you would not see them, because they can manipulate light at a photon level. And then it was wearing it. It said it was wearing it because it's harmed by light. It can be damaged by light. Its internal organs absorb light. That's how they get their energy. It didn't say it didn't say anything at all, but the information is that it's not chlorophyll. It acts like chlorophyll. So light absorbs, it turns it into energy, right? So there's certain types of light that we use that damage them, and one of them, and people keep saying to me, you mean Blu-ray? No, Bluetooth. And it's like, no, it's not Bluetooth. Blu-ray light, in particular, with what it said, blue light, it harms them. They have to protect themselves from this blue light. And I don't know if it's because we are intentionally using this blue light because we know it's a disruptor. The helmet is because it protects them from a signal being emitted in the air that disrupts their mental patterns, and they become detached from each other because they do have a hive mind. I think that's because the clones, when they say we are one with one who is all. Yeah. I'm not sure if that is trying to say God, or if they're the creator who made them using, the first one of its kind, whatever, the Adam. Yeah. So their insides are almost like plant-like. to me, they're like insects and plants.
Yeah.
And like lizard, they remind me, I don't know why I keep getting a gecko lizard in my head. Gecko keeps coming into it.
That's the tattoo that I've got on my arm, but I don't know why I had it done. Gecko.
When I was in Thailand, I was seeing them all over. And they're little, just kind of grey with these big black eyes. And they've got these funny little pointy faces. And they look like the greys a bit to me. But anyway, so and also what I saw was like a Nike swoosh, but in the swoosh was a little tiny circle. It was a filter. Yeah. So that must mean that they do breathe in some level, because it was because the air is toxic. So the air is toxic. There's a signal that is being emitted that disrupts their mental patterns, that detect, and they can become not the hive. And they wear these clothes. Even your clothes, when you've seen them, they come here to here. It's like this bit here from the groin up to their throat is, or up to at least here, is all protected either by black leotards or blue leotard type things or silver suits. It's whatever other light things that probably are going on, stuff that you've been talking about, which, based on what you said, I'm quite sure somebody who's a scientist could figure a little bit more out about why it's, we live in black light, we live in UV light. UV light is black light. We live in the dark. Only time dark is when the sun is shining on us. This is a dark planet. But we don't think of it like that. When you were telling me it, I was like, that makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense. We live in the dark, but our eyes and our biology doesn't see it like that. But my experience of being in the air, when everything is black, but all of life has its own light. Yeah. I think that's another part of the clue of the visors, why they wear it. And that also makes me think it was a living thing.
It was it gets an inch away from my face, and all of a sudden it sucks itself onto me. The thing is, I was holding it and it went, and I had to let go because it was that powerful. It's just gone onto my face and molded itself to fit my face. Now, everybody, we've all got different, as cheekbones, or some are more prominent than others, or same with the brow. Some are more prominent that way.
Under our eyes, cheekbone.
And the nose, bridge of your nose. And it's got to fit that way. And so, like you say, I think it is kind of a sort of a living thing that can do that and shape itself to that. You know what?
When I talked about having my arm out with that little black dog biting my fingers. Yeah. Because of your living visor, I wondered if there's some way that they're using biological creatures to use somehow in data collection. Oh, I don't know. I don't know. But we're seeing these things where living things are playing a part in some mechanical, some mechanism, some process that they're doing, some experiment, or whatever. I mean, I've even with the reptilian thing even wondered, because I couldn't see my arm on this side and it had all the puncture marks, did I have something fused to my central nerve, into my nerve bundles here, and was that testing for nerve function? Like your brain goes all kinds of places when all you've got is what's in your head, and you're trying to figure out, well, what does it mean and what could have been happening? You know? And you hear stuff from other people, and you think, then I go, okay, I can't know that. And if I knew that, I would probably want to have my hand amputated, because I'd be so freaked out by the fact that some people say, have you been tested? And that, no. So and then there's the experience with the green lasers, which I'll get onto as well, which is another clue as to why I know they use light. They use frequency and light for nearly everything, and we are talking quantum manipulation of our environment. And we're like clubbing, we're literally like cavemen with the quantum sciences, that we're going in the right direction, but they have got it sussed. They've got it sussed. I don't know how they do it with everything, but there's some definite, they can modulate frequency on whatever, use light in any way that they want. They can absolutely manipulate their surroundings, our surroundings, and completely disguise themselves, a bit like Bigfoot.
And I'll believe in, yeah. I don't believe it. Right, shall we have a break?
Yeah.
We
yeah. But I think that's really important information.
Yeah,
and somebody else can make more of it than we can, and maybe somebody else could say, maybe even have a question you could ask us that we might know the answer to, but we're not even thinking to say it, you know, because there's so much stuff in ours. Often people ask a question and I'll go blah blah blah, and I go, oh,
where did that come from? I don't know. I wouldn't have thought that.
I'd forgotten that until you'd asked me that. So, you know,
so we'll go into a break and crack on with whatever we're cracking on with after that then.
Yeah. Well, people want to know stuff, don't they? They want to know how it all works.
I want to know.
They want to know what our lives are. You know, well, I understand people think that, you know, it's hard to believe. It is hard to believe because it's hard for us to even believe. But
and I can understand why these you know, people who put thumbs down. Yeah, it's either vendettas or they don't believe. Which in either way, I don't care. No F's given. So.
Behold my field in which I grow my F's. That it is barren. Okay, we'll stop now. We'll be back in a bit.